something, that you be wise around the area around them. Yeah. They were coming all the way into Egypt to get fed. And God had set him up where he could do that. And in the intimate of all of this situation that had confronted Joseph, Joseph recognized his brothers, amen, as they was coming to him. Yeah, he put them in a place where he set them up, put one with some money in a bag, amen. And then he went after them and started talking to them like that, they stole something and stuff like that. But he realized he had his brothers right before his very eyes. And he was very concerned, but he could not tell them at the time he was their brother. But he went back into his area and he cried. Oh my God. He cried. And I want to say this. When you have not seen your brother or your sister or your family member for a while, your heart melts. Amen. If you are really genuinely in right perspective, then down in you that affects you to make you be solemn about the situation. And so when I look at all of the things that Joseph went through, I begin to see how he became where he's at right now. And God began to let him know that in the midst of all of the things that Joseph went through, and having a good king, Pharaoh and Joseph became good friends in a sense of reality of how they were handling the Egyptian, and how they were going to handle the people that was going to come to Egypt. Amen. And after Joseph's family got there, they began to realize that Joseph sent his brothers as prisoners, as a hostage until they brought back Benjamin. But Joseph's younger brother, they returned home with grain in their family, which Jacob refused to even consider sending Benjamin. I don't want to lose another son. And this is something that we need to take in perspective as we are going. God has told us and how things will be if we just trust him. And Joseph had to trust the things that God had put in him to say to his brothers, that it would come to pass and it would be effective. And as they began to do these things, he began to realize that all of these things that he had went through was to make him better. And to help him to understand how he was going to help his father and his brothers. And in the midst of, even though he went through some tests, we may think it was cruel. And I know sometimes when we first read the story, we do say that it was cruel of him and his brothers. We do say that that was a bad thing that the brothers did. But it was all in the plan and the making of the Lord. It was all in the plan of how God was going to set up Joseph for him to be able to take care of his family and to take care of his brothers and his father. Amen. Even though after he revealed himself, and this is such an amazing thing that you can look at Genesis, the 45th chapter, and we're going to read that, because when he did this, he really had some really serious things going on in him, and it's starting at the 4th verse, but I want to start at the 1st verse. He said, then Joseph could not refrain himself before all of them that stood by him, and he cried, caused every man to go out from me, and there stood no man with him while Joseph made himself known unto his brethren. And he wept aloud. Remember what I said, when you really have something with your family and you're sincere about you get very, very solemn. You really do. Your heart is breaking. The whole essence of you is melting. And it's causing you to be at a place where people sometimes wonder, wow, what is going on? Did something happen? Yes. He is being in a place now where he can talk to his family in his own language also. Remember, he became an Egyptian after Potiphar and Pharaoh took him on. They made him into those, they had his culture changed in some things. His name was even changed. Amen. And so when we see this, and Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph. Does my father yet live? And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. They knew they were guilty. They knew they were in trouble in their own hearts because they thought they had really gotten rid of him, period. So, as we read, he said, and Joseph said unto his brethren, come near to me, I pray you. And they came near, and he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom, look at what he said, ye sold into Egypt. Now therefore be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves, that ye sold me hither. For God did send me before. Look at what I said now before. For God did send me before you what? To preserve life.
Yeah.
For these 2 years has the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years in which there shall neither. And I think about, I'm not from the country, but my husband is. Another country, and you're going from one country to another, or from one state to another, there is a difference in the smell. Yes, it is. And knowing that they had to come to Egypt to get their grain and to be fed and to get their wheat and stuff like that, now they get to see their brother in a different atmosphere of respect, an atmosphere of thinking. And as you begin to look at this, you can see, you can feel the essence of the difference in the lifestyle. Now, back to what I was saying about my husband. When we would go to Missouri, I would always see a difference in how Missouri looked versus Kentucky. Now, when it comes to the farmland, it was a little bit different because guess what? We are running out of